Morning, 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 man. It's a harder report. We're back here on this gloomy, rainy day, but we're still coming through with the information, man. We're never gonna let that settle down, man. Come on. Um, Still in the middle of the NBA. I know playoffs are around the corner. The awards are around the corner. We have a lot of stuff on the horizon, but still got to get through it and talk to you guys about what's going on currently. So before we dig into that, let's see what the boys been up to. Kev, what you been saying, bro? It's gloomy out here on my
Uh,
side. I don't know how you're looking.
yeah, it's gloomy here too. Still, even though you see the light in the back. It's a good week. Still, good to be back as always. Let's get to it.
Lie, Chris, what you been saying, bro? Always do it up, eh?
Have to still, but shout out to Thing, bro. Number one, R.I.P. Terrence Clark, Kentucky legend for real.
Facts, facts, facts.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, well done to Usman because I don't know if you guys seen it, but the ancestors were in his right hand and he's put a boy to sleep. So I gotta shout him out too. Masvidal was doing so much chirping, so much laughing in the ring, and finally got put to bed. So shout out Usman.
Shout out Uzma for real. There was something in the air in that UFC arena, man. I've never seen
Damn,
a
that was on my
starting
team
event
still.
like that. Bro. I've never
That was
seen
the
an event.
best ever. So
It was the best fight I
Eventful
ever
is an
seen.
understatement. Still, eventful is
the
an
best.
understatement.
Every single fight had something that had you getting up out of your seat. Dana
Fam, when I
White,
seen the man's leg
he's
wiggle
amped still.
wobbling, man's leg was doing the diddy bob and went down, bro. I was like,
One man
nah,
was
bro.
stepping on his shin, fam. That doesn't even sound
Actually,
right.
I shouldn't even laugh, bro. I shouldn't even laugh. I shouldn't
Yo,
even
that shit's
laugh.
no joke,
Bro, that's
bro.
the crazy thing about UFC though. Like these guys actually go out there, they encounter these type of injuries or these type of moments, and then it's just on to the next, fam. Like man's won't even man's just continue on. All right, who's next up? A
Yeah,
man was stepping on his shin, and we said, all right, who's next? Like it's tough.
Well, they're making over 100K for that, so they must know it's worth it still. But nonetheless, let's get into it, bro.
that nigga
Let's
shin
get into
exploded,
it.
bro.
Exploded, fam. So I want to start off. First of all, I want to give shout out to the New York Knicks. That's where I wanted to start discussion. So the New York Knicks, I think, are on a 12-game winning streak, 12 straight games in which they've covered
Nine, 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 nine,
nine,
nine
nine,
straight
but they've
winning
covered the
streak, nine
spread
straight
in 12
wins.
games. Yeah, my mistake. 9 straight wins, 12 straight games, and covering the spread. For the bettors out there. So first of all, I just want to give them their just due because like at the beginning of the season, I read that they were ranked 30th in the preseason rankings. Because that team is shit. I'm not gonna lie, that team is shit. But shout out Tom Thibodeau and Julius Randle because I don't think they would have done it without those two. Now, my question to you is, and I'll ask you this, Chris: is it real or fake? Because like at some point we're gonna have to start looking at them and say, okay, yeah, you guys are the New York Knicks, but you're also a 4 seed and you're on a 9 game winning streak. And Julius Randle, I don't think there's many players playing better than Julius Randle at this current moment. So what do you think? Is it real or is it fake?
I don't know how to answer that question. And the reason why I don't know how to answer that is like, is Julius Randle real or fake? And that's where it starts. Because realistically, he is what he has done. I remember we were talking about all-star teams, and I was saying,
You're
come on,
disrespecting
bro.
him.
I was like,
What?
come on, we're talking about Julius. You know what I'm saying? And a part of me still feels like that. But instead of looking at the all-star team, I'm looking at the playoffs and I'm saying, come on, bro, like a guy like Julius Randle can't win. He can't be the one to lead you to a fucking playoff series win, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna dead all the hate and I'm gonna just say, fam, like Julius Randle has been playing amazing in every way. Literally in every way. Like, I don't know what to say about it. He's doing it. And you look at that team, the New York Knicks are still shit. They lost Mitchell Robinson and now they're depending on, let me put it like this, they're depending on castaways at every position. Literally, if you go down their roster, their entire starting lineup is full of castaways or a guy in RJ Barrett that people don't really rate either. Elfrid Payton, Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson, Nerlens Noel, like Bullock. Literally, their entire roster are mans that you actually wouldn't go out there and say, I want to start my team with. They're, but shout out to Randall, shout out to the team, shout out to my guy Tom Thibodeau. Like it's a great story. And man's, I've been saying it. The New York Knicks, when the New York Knicks are good, the league is better, and it's the truth. I just don't know if I'm gonna believe it or not.
Yo, this is when I just slow the roll. Still, who gives a fuck? Like, they were never supposed to be here, man. Like, dead all the talks about them beating the Nets in this series. Just enjoy this, because you may never get this again. Like, you can do this season over again, and this team's in 14th in the East. So, like, I honestly don't care if they can win the playoffs. Like, just enjoy it, New York. Like, you don't have star players. Julius Randle's playing out of his mind, and I'm not going to be the man that won't acknowledge you for what you're doing just because of my perceived idea of who you are. So you're playing like an all-star, so I'm going to speak of you like one. He's only gotten better since getting that all-star berth, and it's been a mod thing. So, like, I'm not going to try and project forward and see how they're going to do in the playoffs. I'm not here for all of that because, like, just enjoy what you have right now still before we start talking about them winning a playoff series. Like, if they don't win a playoff series, this is a success for them. So I'm not going to get into all of that, honestly.
I feel like it's a natural progression though. Like after you talk about them, like they're solidified as a playoff team, the next thing that you should be talking about is, all right, can you win a series?
Yeah, but before we even say like shout out for winning, for even doing this, we're talking about them. People are talking about them beating the Nets, like a
I don't know
Subway
about beating the
series.
Nets. Why would
No,
it
but
be?
people are bringing that shit up. Like obviously with the injuries, people are saying like a Nets series, and it's just like just tech time still.
Are they
Like
even in the position to play the Nets?
again,
No.
nobody cares about that. All season has been the narrative. If the Nets play
I'm
the
trying to
Knicks, what's
understand.
going to happen? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just pointless. Like, I understand it's a natural progression, but for me, like when I look at a team like that, like you have no business being here. So if you win, if you play in a playoff game, shout outs to you still.
Facts. I think the thing about me is that I have to talk about it because it's been so long since they've been relevant, right? And yeah, every year you're gonna have a couple teams that fall out and fall in, and then you're gonna have your staples that we talk about every year. But when was the last time we talked about the Knicks? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like I would feel like I'm doing the league or at least our fans a disservice if I'm not talking about it because it's like the Knicks haven't been relevant since Melo was in his prime. Like, you know what I mean? And it's been so long. And yeah, Julius Randle's playing out his mind. So I have to give him credit. Tom Thibodeau's doing his Tom Thibodeau thing, running guys to the rubber. But at the end of the day, all BS aside, they're winning, right? And they're doing well. And they just went out there and boxed up the Raptors, and Julius dropped a 30 piece on our head top. So like, you have to talk about it, right? 38 minutes a game, that was wild. Just putting that out there. That is
Is that
wild.
what he's playing?
But
Yeah,
38,
but you know that's a
37.5.
staple.
That's
That's
Tom
a staple
still.
in Tom Thibodeau still. Like if he feels like you're the one that's going to be contributing to winning basketball, you're not coming off the floor. But Julius Randle said, I was listening to his podcast and he said the Knicks saved his life. Like he went that far. He's like, these guys legitimately saved my life. And looking at what Randle was, on the Lakers, even on New Orleans, he had a good season over in New Orleans
Yeah,
that
his
year.
last year in New Orleans was really good.
Yeah, like he had a really good season, but he still had that stigma on him. You know what I'm saying? That same stigma that I feel like is on RJ Barrett right now of, yeah, he's but you don't want to marry dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he was one of those, you just want to have them for however long you have them for. But in terms of commitment, I can't commit to you. Now,
Yo, can we talk about it
it
though?
looks like he changed that.
Can we talk about it? Because like, is RJ Barrett really that bad? Because I pre the numbers, and he's not that bad. I just think he's one of those guys that people just don't like. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, like obviously, like people don't like him, but like again, the way I've seen it is obviously he had a like bad rookie season in terms of his effectiveness. But it's like if you come out and get better, which I think he has, regardless of if he's good or not. Now that he got better, like I don't want to harp on you because like you're showing me an ability to get better. If you're regressing or you're staying the same, then all right, I'm gonna get on you. But like I feel like it's cool to just say RJ Barrett shit still. Like I feel like from his like first week in the NBA, like he touched the Andrew Wiggins mold where it's like it's just funny to say the man shit. So he does like he's not a good NBA player, but like a man's gotten better. He's on a winning team. He's playing good minutes. Like it's all right still.
He's gotten better, but he's from the Andrew Wiggins mold because he literally is Andrew Wiggins. And he's probably a notch below Andrew Wiggins, to be honest.
In terms of the way they
Because
play, I disagree still.
he's not a consistent 3-point shooter. He can't spot up. And
He's shooting 39% right now from three still.
Yeah, but on what type of volume? And
4 a
that's what
game.
mans have to continue to
For a
look
game?
at.
4 games.
That's actually a lot still.
He's shooting 4 3-pointers a game.
Make it 1.5.
Shout out to that still. But I don't know. The thing is with RJ Barrett, bro, it's the fact that you can't, bro, like, I think, what is he at? Like 43% from the field?
44, 44, 45, basically. 447.
4
That's
4
actually
7.
very good. On
Yeah,
That's
39
very
this
from
is
good.
three.
what I'm
That's what I'm saying.
saying.
So I'm saying, like, yo,
That's
once
very
mans have
good.
this idea in your head, regardless of what you do, mans are still gonna talk like your shit. Like, mans aren't
I
even
don't know what
checking
he
the
has to
numbers
do
or
to
just
shade the
calling them
label
shit.
then still, because I'm watching the New York Knicks and I'm seeing Randall and I'm seeing Randall's star. Like, I'm seeing his light shine bright. I'm not seeing that from RJ Barrett.
That's okay. He's in year 2, man.
And he's getting the numbers 17 and a half with 5 boards a game and 3 assists
He's
on that
averaging
efficiency.
17 a game.
17 and a
Yeah, he's averaging
half.
17.
Come on, man. That's actually that's a great sophomore season.
Come on. That's what I'm
He's averaging
saying.
17. But this is, fam, Wiggins did the same thing, fam.
Was he winning games?
He was in the playoffs in his second year. That was when he had
That wasn't
Cat
year 2 still.
and
That wasn't
Town.
year 2 still. That wasn't year 2. That was
Nah,
like year
that
3 for
couldn't-
Towns still.
Yeah,
Wiggins was already on the mega deal by them times still.
Nah, no way.
Fam, he already
Nah,
got the
I'll pull
extension.
it
That's
up
why
right
Jimmy
now.
was cheesed. There's no Towns wasn't even in year 2 them times. Bro, like, again, he's playing winning
That was
basketball.
2017, 2018.
I think he's different because he at least shows some playmaking ability as opposed to Andrew Wiggins. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, mans have already called this guy shit, so no matter what he does in his sophomore season, mans are moving like this dude's garbage. And he's on a winning team playing big minutes. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Andrew Wiggins'
saying.
second year, he averaged 20 a game.
That's not what you said.
That's
Said
what
he's
I was
winning.
saying.
I said you said he was winning.
No, I'm saying that they had the same. But then the second question what you asked me was he winning? So now I'm gonna look at what team he was on during that time. But I'm
This just
saying
wasn't on a
year.
my first statement was Andrew Wiggins was doing the same thing. That was my first statement.
But it's not the
Okay,
same
but
thing,
again,
though.
okay, but what I'm saying is in year 2, mans weren't talking about Wiggins like they were talking about RJ Barrett right now still. Year 1 Wiggins, mans weren't on him like that. Wiggins was dropping 20 point a game. He won Rookie of the Year. Year 2, mans still weren't even on him like that. It wasn't until maybe year 3, year 4 when his game didn't start to develop. All I'm saying is RJ Barrett was shit last year, and he's playing a lot better this year and winning games. You can't get on him for that. I'm sorry, still. I'm not rolling.
Bro, I honestly, prior to me looking up the numbers, I would have told you that RJ Barrett's garbage, strictly on the fact that I watch a couple Knicks games here and there, and he doesn't look like he's doing anything special. But at the end of the day, when you
He
wrap
doesn't
it
look
up,
the part, man.
but okay,
He
but
doesn't
when you look it up
still.
and you look at the box score, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like, you know what I mean?
Some
You
mans
can't
look
really
pretty
ask
and
much
drop
more
9
from
a
him.
game still.
It's a big fact, bro. Man's give clout to mans like Rondo who go out there and do what?
Who gives
Like, you know what I
man's
mean?
only praise playoff Rondo has become a staple on the man's name for a reason now still.
No, I'm just saying there are guys that praise Rondo, and Rondo's not going out there doing anything other than going out there and pointing fingers and directing traffic, which is valuable, but come on now.
I hear you, fam.
Bro, Andrew Wiggins in his second year, which you mentioned, averaged 2 assists and 2.2 turnovers still. Like, that man has never shown any ability to play make in his life.
It's a fact.
Is that much better than RJ though? Like, what is RJ?
Positive
RJ's
at
at 3
least.
assists a game.
RJ's
RJ's at 3 assists and 2 turnovers.
It's
It's the same
positive.
shit.
That's 50% more assists. That's 50% more assists.
Fam, that's 3 and 2, fam. What does
That's
that ratio break
50%
down
more.
into? You're the math man, eh?
That's 50% more. Are you listening to me?
Fam, that's 3 assists and 2 turnovers a
You
game.
asked
That's
me
not
for
Hold
the
on,
great.
hold on. Let me
ratio.
ask you guys a question. Let me ask you guys a question though, because this is a big question that I always have a discussion at work with. Like, what do you like? I think we look at players differently based on the position that they're playing. Because I feel like if RJ Barrett's playing shooting guard and he's putting up 3 assists, that looks a lot better than if he was playing small forward putting up 3 assists, right? And granted, he's playing with another ball dominant guy like Julius Randle that's giving up 6 plus a regular point guard, even though Alfred Payton's garbage. So like, I always look at it and say, yo, would you look at a man like Clay and fault him for averaging whatever he's averaging in terms of assists? Like, I don't think we look at shooting guards and say, yo, you're supposed to give me 6, 7, 8 dimes a game.
But
especially if he's
Clay's a
another ball
different case
dominant
though,
guy.
because Clay doesn't.
Nah,
But Clay doesn't dominate the ball in that respect. So it's not even a fair correlation.
but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that RJ Barrett dominates the ball. He play
Yes, he
makes when he has
does.
the ball. Julius
No, he
Randle
dominates.
dominates the ball. He's under 38 minutes a game
You're
with
saying
6
RJ
assists.
Barrett dominates the ball?
RJ Barrett plays on ball. He plays with the ball in his hands. That's what I'm saying. Klay Thompson does not do that.
But I don't think his objective is to pass. So the fact that he's getting 3 assists, you can't fault him for that. Especially
Fam,
when he's playing
faulting or
against a
not,
man.
fam,
But
it's
yo, the thing about
if
it
you
is,
don't want to. I'm not talking about the assists. I'm talking about the fact that it's 3 assists with 2 turnovers.
that's
That's
still
the
a
issue.
positive ratio.
Barely.
Barely it is. The way I look at it is just, it could be a lot worse. And we can pick and we can harp and we can nitpick on his
Look at
stat
the
line, but at
man's
the end of the day,
rookie
he's good.
season compared to what it is now. Like, how you getting on a man that's getting better? Like, I don't get it still. Man started at the absolute bottom in terms of where he could start from. And like, if this guy shot 40% from the field this year, it probably would have been an improvement. This guy's shooting 45%, 39 from deep on 4 attempts a game. That's actually a man that's hitting shots.
Yeah. He needed a little kickstart though, because until Anthony Edwards told him that he was trash, he wasn't saying nothing really still, to be honest. I checked the numbers. It kickstarted him. But yo, if that's what we need, that's what you need. You know what I mean?
Bro, you play 82 games for a
Telling you,
reason
thank
still.
God that we gave it.
Mhm.
we gave it to RJ. Golly.
All right, yo. Let's move forward. I feel like, yo, that's the most that anybody has ever talked about the Knicks in the past 10 years. MVP discussion. So right now, they had released the standings for the MVP ladder with I can never say his name right. Nikola Jokic, number 1, Joel Embiid 2, and then they had varying degrees of people below. They had Steph, they had Braun was still up in there. They had a bunch of people, but right now, I guess my question to you is, who is your MVP given everything that's happened? Giannis was in that list too, sorry. But who is your MVP at this current point in time? And I'll pose it to you, Kev, because I got a long-winded take. So go ahead, Kev.
I'm taking Jokic still. Embiid's been great, but he's missed games, and Jokic hasn't missed any, like, whatsoever. And he probably won't. So for me, given that and how good Jokic is playing, the fact that Jamal Murray's down and this guy's backpacking, like, he is truly backpacking on a nightly basis right now. The numbers he's putting up is insane. He's averaging 25, 11, and 9 on 57% shooting from the field, 40 from deep, and 85. The only thing that's stopping him from a 50, 40, 90 is the free throw shooting. So this guy is backpacking. He's obviously winning games. He's not going to be at the top of the West, but that combined with the fact that he hasn't missed any games puts him over Embiid for me.
Facts. I'll go here. I really do want to give it to Embiid because I feel like he really deserves it, right? Well, granted, yeah, I think he really deserves it. But again, what Jokic is doing is undeniable. Like, you can't, especially with Jamal Murray going down now, and he's gonna be able to finish the season as him being the lone star, all eyes on him, and he's performing. He's gonna run away with it. My only concern with this race is I don't like how people are campaigning for Steph, because it's like I've seen Dame Lillard do this, and his name's not even in the conversation.
They tried
Steph
last year
does it.
still.
Nah, it wasn't enough though. It wasn't enough though. It wasn't
It's
enough.
not going to be enough now,
conversation.
though. It's not going to be enough now either. That's what I'm saying.
But it's more conversation. There's more buzz. There's people legitimately like raising his candidacy. And
Steph Curry, fam.
Fam, Steph Curry shouldn't even be in the discussion, my dude. He actually shouldn't even be in the conversation.
When Dame did it last
what
year,
are we doing?
When Dame did it last year, it didn't look like what Steph Curry was doing like for the last.
Dame was dropping 60.
It was a
Was Dame in 9th when he was doing that?
So probably a bit further out still. And
I didn't even really hear the MVP buzz for Dame.
They had made a small little case, but I'm saying because it's Steph Curry, obviously, right? But what Dame was doing last year, and I watched all those games out of my fantasy that year, it didn't look like what Steph's doing this year. Even with that said, like, mans are just gonna talk because they have to. The MVP, they can't just allow a man just to run away with it. They got to bring something up. They have to try something. And this year, because it's so fluid, it gives them the opportunity to throw whoever gets hot. Like, if you get hot for a couple weeks, hold that. You could be MVP. Let's make a case for you. It's not a big deal still. It's not going to be enough. When it's all said and done, he's not going to be there. So It is what
It's a
it
big
is.
deal for me still, especially when they ask you, "Are you the MVP?" Oh yeah, who else is going to be the MVP? Nigga, you're in 9th place, fam. They cut it out. like, what is this bravado? I don't understand it.
That's
What's the
actually
bravado
par for the
for?
course, though.
Nah, it's not still because you're in 9th place, fam. So the arrogance that you say it with is just not needed. I understand that you want to be like, I'm the most valuable player to my team. Cool, you can be like that. But don't tell me like, oh yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. Like, who else is gonna be it? He's like, yeah, of course I'm the MVP. Who else is gonna get it? What? Like, what are you talking about? So that it is what it is. From when I heard that, bro, I just got cheese because I'm like, I'm over here like saying I'm trying to enjoy what you're out here doing. You're trying to ruin it, like straight ruining it. But I want to give it to Embiid. I really do, bro. But it's to the point where if I feel like if Embiid doesn't get it, there's definitely some type of bias. I mean, if Jokic doesn't get it at this point, there's some type of bias. I don't know what the bias is or where you want to attribute it to, but if the roles were reversed and it was Embiid that hasn't missed any games and Jokic that missed 18, 19 games, there wouldn't be any discussion. Mans would have already gave it to Embiid. It would have sent the race is over. We don't have to talk about this anymore. That's at least my opinion. But because it's Embiid, the one that missed 18 games, now apparently we're still in the conversation. We're still having the who's the MVP. Jokic is 100% the MVP. But I'm hoping that they just say, you know what, Embiid. The only way I see Embiid winning it is if these voters believe that Embiid is just a better player, and I don't even think that's a surety either. So Jokic
Yo,
is
take
going to
this
be
in.
MVP.
Take this in. And this is the part that's really going to piss me off. Joel Embiid's going to make second team All NBA.
So
That's
what?
just a game still.
But you see, and that's the problem. Because now when a man like Anthony Davis needs to get on the list, they'll fudge the numbers. They're fudging numbers.
Yeah, that's facts.
They're
facts.
fudging
But yo,
numbers.
Mans,
Can't make
man,
lists
I
this
went
year.
through that last year still. Mans heard me last year still. I told Mans. I'm not going to do it again still.
Fam, how can Anthony Davis make it this year, though?
No, we're saying last year when they wanted Anthony Davis to get on, what did they do? They made him a center. That was our point. This year, are they going to make Joel Embiid a power forward or make Jokic a power forward? No, they're not.
But who's going to get first team? It's going to be Jokic.
Yeah, but
Right.
Embiid should
That's
be on
the
first
point.
team too.
Embiid should be at first. The same reason AD should have been one.
Fam, if Jokic, I must be confusing this. If
You're
Jokic
confusing it. We're not saying we're saying
Jokic is the
Embiid
best-
and Jokic should be on it.
Why?
The same
'Cause
reason
they
play
AD
the
was
same
supposed to be on
position.
it. The same reason AD was supposed to be on it.
But that's the point,
AD
fam.
was a forward like Kawhi, like LeBron James. What do you not
Nah,
understand?
but AD's different though because he is a power forward and he is a center. There's
can't be
no
both.
way you can fix There's no way you can fix your mouth. Yes, he does. He has a positional flexibility like that. He's played at center for the Lakers. He's also played at power forward.
But playing
When
at
have you ever
center
seen him
and
be
being
that
a center
power
are two
forward?
different things. But no,
Fam,
I
but if you
understand
play
that.
the position, you can be moved over to that.
But that's not what we're saying, though.
Don't move like there's rationale to this. Though they'll do whatever they want. Let's keep it a buck. They'll do what they want.
How can Embiid be a power forward?
I'm not saying
We're
he's
saying-
powerful. What
we're
I'm
not
saying is the
saying he
system
can.
needs to
Nah,
be
it's
different
not
to
the
allow
same.
him to be on the first team because
Nah,
he's the
Yo, are you
second
not
best player in the
listening,
NBA
Chris?
right
Chris, are you
now.
hearing us? We said we're not saying that. No one said it's the same.
I
What are you
know
talking
that,
about?
but you're saying that they are going to be able to change it to make him
No,
that.
we're not
we're
saying
not.
that. They're saying they're
So
not
then what are you
going
talking
to.
about?
Yeah, that is,
I'm
bro.
saying Embiid deserves to be on the first team, but because of the position restrictions, he's not going to make it, even though he's the second best player in the NBA right now. That's what we're saying.
And who cares?
And that's not fair.
And who
Nah,
cares?
that's not fair. Because now when you look back at it, it's
How
going
is
to look
that-
like he had a...
A man is better than you. What are you talking about?
So that means that because one man's better than you, that you're going to put another four
At
ahead
your
of me?
position, that's the point.
So
The man
LeBron
who is
James,
better than you is at your
LeBron James
position.
and Kawhi Leonard were better than him at his position Anthony Davis at his position last year. So they moved him to center. If the man's at your position, we're saying he's a forward. Obviously, he's listed as a power forward last year. I understand he can play center, but he was listed as a power forward. Those mans at that power forward position were better than him. Why was he
Yes,
listed
but
as
he
a
had
center?
he had the flexibility to be moved.
Yeah,
Embiid
bro.
doesn't have that.
Cape for this NBA bullshit still.
Embiid doesn't have it. Embiid is a center.
Yo,
And the man who is better than you is a center.
you see,
which
sometimes
means
you say
you are a
things
second teamer. That's it.
and you gotta wait for it to come to fruition. You may have to wait 2-3 years. They didn't even
That's
wait long
actually
on this
it.
one. Still.
The man
Told
that is
Maz
better
last
than
year.
you is at your position. I don't
I
know what
told
we're
Maz
talking
last
about.
year this was some fuckery, and it's gonna show its head now because it's not gonna make any sense.
A lie?
When they needed to K for AD, they did it. When they need to figure out a way to get him on, they did it still. So
It's gonna be interesting. Still, it's gonna be interesting. Well, one more quick note before we go to the first break. It's just a little bit of a side note, but Frank Vogel right now is in talks to get an extension from the Lakers. So I was on NBA Reddit, and they're basically saying, one, does he deserve the extension? Which I think he does. He won the chip. But two, where would you rank Frank Vogel in the hierarchy of coaches? Like, do you think he's a top tier coach, mid tier coach, or whatever? Because they're basically putting up these pictures and memes saying that LeBron is the only great player that has never had a coach associated with him. It's always been LeBron and whoever, right? Because you had Jordan, Phil Jackson, Kobe, Phil Jackson, so on and so forth, Duncan Popovich, but there is nobody to pair with LeBron. So they're basically asking whether or not it was LeBron's doing or whether or not Frank Vogel is actually a halfway decent coach, which I think he is because he proved it in Indiana with Paul George. Like he was pretty decent.
Did he prove it in Orlando?
no,
that's
but you don't have to be
Orlando.
successful at every single stop. Like you don't have to be successful at every single
I'm
stop.
trying to take his whole resume and still, but continue. I'm just asking a question. Did he prove it in
Yo,
Orlando?
you're a jackass.
like that's it.
You're moving like
Yeah,
he's not
I
fresh
think-
off a chip, bro. Come on.
I think he's decent. I think he's a decent coach, right? But I'm not ranking him anywhere. Like it's that simple to me. If Jason Kidd was coaching his team, they would have won a championship. If whoever the fuck else is on that bench, they would have won a championship. So I'm not going to rank him anywhere. I'm not putting him above anyone. I'm not putting him in no hierarchy, but I think he's decent just because he's shown he can win before. He had teams that played very good defense and won games. So I think he's decent. I think he deserves an extension. Like he hasn't done anything wrong. The fact that you're associated with Braun doesn't mean that now you can't get an extension. Like, are you going to bring someone in for what reason? Why would you bring someone in when whatever you have right now is working? Extend the man, tie him to LeBron James, maybe give him a year past that, and keep on keeping on still.
What do you think, Chris?
The fact that you're associated with LeBron is what gets you the extension because you're going to win games, man.
Well, I'm to David Blatt.
David Griffin, that he's a different case, bro. Because Maz didn't even know who that nigga was. Look, if LeBron doesn't rate you, then you can't get an extension. LeBron has to rate you first. That's step number one.
So how do you
rated
get the
David
position
Griffin.
if LeBron? That made no sense, man. Come on.
Fam, so before LeBron got there, David Blatt signed. When LeBron
Yeah, but
got there, he knew he was getting homie out of that.
I don't think that's fair. So.
What are you talking about? He came over and he said, "Nah, I don't rate this one. Bounce. Simple."
I think if LeBron has that much leeway, they would have fired him right off the bat if LeBron said, I ain't working with him. I think LeBron was willing to give him a chance. And then when he turned the tables and said, I'm doing this and that, Bron said, all right, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, I
And
think Braun gave him a
that's
chance.
all I'm saying. Brown gave him a chance. And he realized, I don't rate this guy, so get out. Simple. But if you're associated with LeBron James, fam, you're gonna get a bag. That's just how it goes, bro. He is Santa Claus. Literally. He's Black Santa Claus. Like, if you're associated with LeBron, you're getting your extension. Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, David Griffin, Ty Lue. Like, the list goes on and on, bro. The list goes on and on still. But in terms of Frank Vogel, like, he's decent. Like, he's not going to knock your socks off. But at the same time, like, he has been the one to, you want to establish continuity. You're not going to fire dude, like, in the midst of this. So, like, an extension is just a foregone conclusion. But ranking him, nah, we're not doing that because we understand what it is. You're paired up with LeBron James, and the same thing that I say about Steve Kerr, fam. Like, when you're paired up with these players, and I haven't really seen anything. And even Frank Vogel's even better than Steve Kerr because we've seen him do something. You're played up with these great players, fam.
Yo,
It
you
is what
can't
it
say
is.
that, bro. You can't just say that
Fam,
like
it is what
it's
it
a
is.
fact. It's not a fact.
It's a fact. We haven't seen Steve Kerr do anything when he didn't have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry at their prime.
So when Mark Jackson got fired and Steve Kerr came in and he turned the team up, that's not his coach doing?
The
That's
team
not
was
his
already
coaching?
turned. The team was
No, it
already
wasn't.
turned.
No, it
They weren't
wasn't.
an
They were
NBA
6 with Mark
championship.
Jackson.
Yes, it
Let's keep it a
was.
buck.
The team was already turned. He came in at the precipice of the Steph Curry breakthrough. That's what he inherited.
Yo, okay, Chris, I'm gonna ask you a question still because what you're saying makes no sense to me. You're saying Frank Vogel is better than Steve Kerr because he did something without Steph.
I didn't
and
say
Klay.
better. I said his resume is even better than Steve Kerr because we've seen him win before.
Without Steph and Klay.
No, I'm saying Frank Vogel, his resume is even better than Steve Kerr. So when I say that he's just
His
out here
resume
winning
is
with
better than a 3-time champion.
as a coach, yes, it is. I haven't seen Steve Kerr do anything. When have you seen Steve Kerr win a game without
I've seen Steve Kerr drop ridiculous out of bounds plays in the clutch, drop great plays in the clutch. I've seen that still. I've definitely seen that.
I've also seen Frank Vogel go Game 7 with a man said that with Paul George and Paul. I can't remember if it was you or Rob's, but mans weren't trying to rate Paul George. I don't know what the reason was, but he took that team. I think it was Rob's saying that Paul George wasn't piggybacking anybody. He had a whole bunch of, or it was somebody, and he took that team of just a whole bunch of ancillary parts, and he took LeBron James in his absolute peak prime to the brink multiple times. 1 Game 6, 1 Game 7. That's very credible. Very credible.
More credible than 3-time champion, fam?
And Steve Kerr hasn't done a coaching job like that.
So you're telling me he wasn't coaching that team that won the first championship? Like, I feel like man's skipped past those 2 years where they won a championship, went 73-9, and moved like this entire era of the Warriors started when Kevin Durant joined them. It's just weird to me because Steph Curry won his first MVP in Steve Kerr's first season, right? They turned up and became a dynasty when Steve Kerr touched down. Yes, we all acknowledge that Mark Jackson set the absolute foundation and left a lot less work for Steve Kerr than most coaches have when they come in. But that doesn't mean this guy came in and never once coached. When he made the decision to go to Draymond Green instead of David Lee, he wasn't coaching. When he had this team beating teams in the playoffs and then ultimately bleeding the Cavs, although they were beat up in that first championship, he wasn't coaching. That's foolishness. When he brought Iguodala in as a starter in the finals to guard LeBron James, that wasn't a coaching job. Allow that shit.
He was already playing 30-something minutes a game.
Okay, but he made a decision. And who's playing him 30 minutes a game?
He was already fam.
Okay, who had the continuity? Who had that bench mob with Landry Barbosa, Sean Livingston, all those guys coming off the bench, accepting a bench role and performing at peak levels whenever they touch court? Who did that?
That's his greatest skill. The fact that he can massage player ego. That's what everybody said.
So
that's his
at
greatest
no point,
skill.
All those things I just named to you, at no point was he coaching because Steph Curry was averaging 35-5 when Steve Kerr touched down. No, he wasn't. Steph Curry's MVP season was averaging 24, and he turned up towards the finals few months of the season. So let's not move like this man came in and touched the Warriors when they were already ready to win a championship. This team was a 6 seed. They were entertaining. They were
definitely already the foundation. Fam, Mark Jackson cooked all the food, and all Steve Kerr had to do was come in and set the table. That's it.
When he left, were they a playoff? All right,
and
were they
the
a
players
championship
themselves
favorite?
had said that. I
don't
even have to go back and forth on that.
And I agree with you. But were they a championship team the day Steve Kerr touched the
yes.
They were favored as champions?
They weren't favored. The foundation was there. You asked me, were they a championship team the day he stepped in? Yes, they were.
So how are you not going to take Steve Kerr and allow them to say whether that they elevated them?
Okay, so you're saying at no point he coached. So because
I did not say at no point he coached. I said the coaching job that he did for that team was not significant for me to be giving him a boatload of credit. Because at the end of the day, I've seen, fam, the same 73-9 or 73-8, whatever they went. My man started the game. My man Luke Walton started 27-0. And what is he doing over at the Kings? Shit in the bed.
But that's because of that's because of the foundation that Steve Kerr had established at that point. That team was
all right, okay.
No.
That's Steve Kerr's foundation.
No. But I'm saying obviously Mark Jackson started that. But when that team that Luke Walton took over, that's Steve Kerr's team now. That team won a championship. That team was a well-oiled machine. They could have went out there with nobody and won games at that point. But Steve Kerr helped put that offense together, finalize it. If he didn't start it, he helped finalize it. He refined it. That championship team, that 73-9 team, who thought that Mark Jackson team would ever went 73-9? That's the same exact team Mark Jackson left.
Mark Jackson, fam, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were in the peak of their powers. What foundation?
They were not in the peak of their powers.
Yes, they were.
Steph Curry was averaging 24 a game. He has never averaged less than that since.
Season, he was averaging 24 a game.
That's not when Steph Curry touched down.
When
Steve Kerr took over. What are you talking about? When Steve Kerr took over,
73-9 season
is not when Steve Kerr took over.
That's not when he took over. Still,
I didn't say that. You know what?
You said he was in the peak of his powers.
This is what you man is.
So hold on.
I did not. He
A
took over
player,
the year before. He took over the year before, right?
right?
No, he took over 2 years before. 2 years
No,
before.
no, the year before.
It
The
was the
year,
year
okay, he
before.
took over the year before and he won the championship.
Yes, in his first year.
He had that issue with his back. Now he's out. Now Luke Walton comes in. They go on that torrid play and finally lose to fucking MCW after 27 games or whatever the number was. What I'm saying is that right there, if you're saying to me the rebuttal to that is Steve Kerr already laid the foundation from a year before, but then you don't want to actually give the same type of credit to the one who
I
actually
started
laid
it. I started it
the
with that. I
primary
started with that
foundation.
credit.
So
I
then
gave
what
that
are we
credit off
doing?
rip. I gave that credit off rip. But just because Mark Jackson laid bricks doesn't mean Steve Kerr didn't come in and lay any bricks. That's my point.
Fam, if you lay
Man's are
two
moving,
bricks at the top of the crib when the foundation, the house is
bro.
already built,
You do not
why
go
am I
from
gonna
a
move
6
like you
seed
did
to
anything?
an NBA
Especially when you have
championship.
Steph Curry at the peak of his powers.
You do not go from 73. You do not go from a 6 seed to an NBA champion and 73-9 and only lay 2 bricks. Steph Curry, when Steve Kerr took over, was not a top 5 player in the league. He wasn't. Simple. He was not. And Steph Curry rose to the peak of his powers.
I remember his Jordan year when Mans were what year was it when Mans were saying that Steph Curry is basically our Jordan?
73-9.
Let me search it up right now.
What are you talking? You don't know what you're talking about?
Fam, I'm searching. Can I? No, shut the fuck up. Can I search up his entire number so I can see what's going on?
All right, you do that. What I'm saying
is,
all right,
don't know.
While I talk,
don't know. Fam, don't know. I appreciate
the foolishness this man's talking about.
What?
Because he went 73-9, won unanimous MVP in that year when he touched the peak of his powers. So a player rose to the peak of his powers with Steve Kerr, but Steph Curry did everything. So before he ever touched that absolute peak, when he became unanimous MVP, they already won a championship. But Steve Kerr came in and laid 2 bricks. Man's keep missing with that shit, bro. I understand that he came into a very good situation. No one's ever took over a team as good as Steve Kerr did. Maybe only Steve Nash. But that doesn't mean he didn't do anything. That doesn't mean he didn't have to coach. These men were not champions before Steve Kerr took over. That doesn't mean they wouldn't have been champions, but it doesn't change the fact that they weren't. It doesn't change the fact that he came in, he helped refine something that was already built, and that in itself is an accomplishment. Because a lot of mans can step in and fuck something up that's already good. Instead, he took it further, and it's that simple.
That's a fact, though.
Anybody's coaching that team. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Anybody's coaching that team to what they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green when he was Draymond Green, and then you dash.
He wasn't Draymond Green.
He was a bench man. He was a bench man still. He was a benchman.
Rob, do you see what I'm saying? Where mans forget the progression of this entire thing? Man skip to the finished product.
Bro, Draymond Green was a benchman. Second round pick off the bench.
The idea to put David Lee on the bench over Draymond Green was just an easy one. Like, it was just a foregone conclusion. It wasn't.
And David Lee was an all-star, eh? He was an all-star still. But yo, we ran over a little bit of time in this heated discussion. Let's take our first break. We'll be right back and get into some of the news after the break. Stay tuned. Little break to ease the tension. Little break. We're back though. Interesting topic. Chris raised this one, so I'm gonna let you start it off, bro. Go ahead. What do you think? Ask your question still, because I'm gonna give you the credit for it.
Nah, I was just saying in terms of, because I was looking at what we're gonna talk about and shit. And one of the topics that I seen around is saying, like, if you were to start a team, or not even start a team, if you were saying a new fan of the NBA, and you're saying, who am I going to like attach myself to? Who am I going to be a fan of? Like, what team would you go out there and choose? And for me, like, I thought about 2 things, or 3 things, mainly. First, you have to look at the type of team that you're attaching yourself to. You know, the organization itself, outside of whatever players that they have on the team or not. Because as we know, like as NBA fans, that's the first battle. Like a franchise can go out there, and it really depends on the owners, but like a franchise can go out there and fire a general manager, fire a coach, draft players on players, bro. And the output of that is still dog water. The output of that is still the Sacramento Kings. You see what I'm saying? So for me, that was the first one. Second one was the players, for sure, saying at what type of age, are they, and how long can I see them? And then the third one is just like the cachet of the team. the ability to get a free agent, the ability to retain your talent, the ability to get a top tier head coach and things like that. And this is going to sound crazy still because man's already know I'm a Philly fan. But for me, it has to be Philly. For me, it has to be Philly because number one, they're a major city. Number two, they have young stars right now where we can see, a development, a constant progression. And then number three, the fact that they have that storied history, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Allen Iverson. Like they have players in the past where you can say, bro, you can look back and be like, I see the cachet here. You know
What
what I'm saying?
cachet?
I see the cachet,
What?
fam.
All right. When was your
You
last
you
chip?
can't,
No. When was your last chip?
fam.
When was your last
ABA
chip?
Probably in
days.
like the 1970s. But fam, when I say cachet, I'm talking about you don't want to, and this is what I'm talking about. You don't want to sign your name up for the Lakers, bro. You don't want to sign your name up for a team like the Celtics
But why do you want to sign your
because
name up for
that's
the
the
Lakers? Because of the chips.
because fam, you sign yourself up for a team like the Lakers. Number one, you can't sign up to be on the top of the mountain. Like if you're trying to be a fan, you have to have a rooting interest. You want to be there. The classic thing would be if you signed up for Golden State right when Steve Kerr took over and rode the ride. That's what you want to do too. You want to take over and ride the ride, fam. And now look, now you can say I've been with a dynasty. I've laid roots. I've been here. I was a Golden State fan from. That's what you want. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm a Laker fan since when 2021. That doesn't sound right, fam.
But the
That doesn't
reality
sound right.
is that as a new fan, in the context of your question, nobody's gonna pick up the boring team, right? You're gonna pick up the team
And
that's
that's what I'm saying.
entertaining.
Philly, but that's what I'm saying. Philly's not a boring team.
But
Who's
if
entertaining
I'm,
on Philly? In all
yeah,
honesty, who's entertaining on Philly?
Embiid's not entertaining, dropping. He hasn't done any. What Embiid's doing, no one's done since Shaq.
As Embiid's are not, but Shaq is. But that's the thing. Shaq wasn't a very entertaining player. If you listen to anyone talk about Shaq, they said it didn't look pretty. It wasn't entertaining. It was just bully ball. So no, I don't think Embiid's entertaining. For us who love basketball, yeah. But if I'm a new fan, it's the Nets. It's the Nets. Don't get confused how new fandom works. If you're a child, if you're 10, 13 years old and you're just trying to fully watch the NBA, you associate yourself with a man like Kyrie Irving, like a James Harden. Mans are out here looking for the bottom of the barrel where they can attach themselves. That's if you're grown and you're trying to make a conscious decision. If you're just a new fan, as most fans are young, you attach yourself to one proximity, obviously. But if we're going to ignore proximity, it's the biggest names, it's the biggest stages. And the Nets are the hip team right now because they don't have the storied history. So you can get on the ride early, even though you are considered a bandwagonist because they have 3 all NBA players, but they haven't won anything yet. The bandwagon's still open. And they have Kyrie Irving, who is exciting by all means. They have a Kevin Durant, who's a top whatever player in the NBA in all time. They have a James Harden, who's an offensive juggernaut, and it just looks good. That's going to be fun if I'm a new fan coming to the NBA. That's the team that everyone's talking
personally,
about. That's who you're naturally just going to watch.
Personally, I'm gonna go with the Heat, and for many reasons. One, there's a culture set. Everybody always talks about Heat culture, right? They have that quote unquote cachet that Chris is talking about. They have 3 chips in the past 20 years, plus they're fresh off of NBA Finals. So a man who's new to the NBA might look at them and say, "Hey, these guys are the juggernauts. Those guys are the underdogs. Jimmy's out there fighting his last fight. I'm a root for this team." And it's not like it's not hard to root for a team in South Beach, right? They have products, they have players, they're always competitive. Pat Riley built a culture within the organization that they don't condone losing basketball. Obviously, this year's a little bit different because of coronavirus, but nonetheless, in the past 20 years, they've had a winning record. It's just an easy decision. Like, you know what I mean? Even if you want to say, oh, I'm going to go fly out to a Heat game, like, you're not mad at going to South Beach to go watch some basketball. Like,
No
you know
one
what I mean?
goes to Heat games, though.
No one goes to
Their
Heat
own
game, but
fans
you
in
can,
Miami
though.
don't go to the Heat games. See, the Heat are just a watered down version of what Philly is, in my estimation, bro. And
What?
maybe I'm thinking about I'm in the sense that you guys are saying who's entertaining on Philly. Jimmy Butler?
But yo,
That's your name.
Yo,
That's the one
Miami
that's
has
getting you to the
chips.
games.
3 chips
no,
in 20
but yo, the
years.
thing is, I think Mans are making Man's responses sound like you're an NBA fan already, but you're trying to find a team. That's what Man's responses sound like to me because like you're making conscious decisions now. Okay, culture, cachet,
But yeah,
getting
I
on,
didn't think about
getting
the
on
question
before the
as like a
ride.
you.
But you asked a new fan though. That's why like I'm a bit confused because in terms of a new fan, you're not making conscious. You don't even know about cachet. You don't even know which teams have history for the most part, aside from the Lakers and the Celtics. Like you don't even know those things. It's the first.
Basically, it was the same thing like me when I was looking at when I was like, I'm gonna join a prem team, and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get into soccer. I'm trying to start watching soccer. What team am I trying to associate myself with? That's the type of thinking it is. Like, no, I'm not a kid, but also like, for example, man's left from Spurs to Tottenham to City, and man's just saying you're a glory whore. So you know what I'm saying? That's the same thing that I see the Nets
But yo,
as.
that's
Like,
not.
man's are gonna ask you, oh, now you're a Nets fan. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's
Like, it's
not.
the same shit.
That's not how fandom starts though. Like typical fandom starts. It's not. That's not how typical fandom starts. You don't go. You don't start watching basketball with the. And you basically said before you started watching soccer, you tried to find a team to associate with yourself.
Because yeah,
But that's not how. That's
because you
how.
want a rooting interest in
And yeah, I
something.
understand, but I think that's not the normal progression for a fan. I think you get interested in the sport, and then from there, you attach yourself to a team instead of the other way around. So I don't think that's normal. But and when we're looking at it from the normal sense, which teams are you going to see the most? Which ones are you going to have the chance to associate yourself with the most? The ones that ESPN talks about the most, and the one that's on ESPN the most. And those are the teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, now the Nets. But the Nets are more exciting, obviously, because of who they have on their team. For me, like I don't think any team comes close to the Nets right now. And again, anyone that's a Nets fan now is essentially a bandwagonist, unless you're from Brooklyn. Let's keep it a buck, right? If you're not from Brooklyn, if you're not from, let's just say New York, and you're a Nets fan, you're a wagonist. Whether you got on 2 years ago, this year, or the year before, you're a wagonist, period. So all Mets can be wagonists together.
The thing about it is like the reason why I didn't say the Nets is because the way I looked at it was as a new fan, just by the way that people talk about the Nets, and if you did your research and know how they came together, you would know that like that's not it. Like that's an artificial team. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but what he's saying is that what he's saying is that there is no research going into it. Man, just watch the games and you just
No, I
see
hear that, but
Kyrie,
like
KD, Harden.
the
The
way I
highlights, you see
understood
the
the
highlights
question.
for the most part.
No, I hear that, but I'm saying the way I understood the question, I didn't take it from the perspective as a young kid who's trying to get into basketball. I took it as perspective of, say, a guy that watches strictly football and wants to get into basketball. He only knows the major players, but now he wants to be an avid
That's what I
basketball
was
fan.
saying too. So.
If he knows about integrity in sports in general, he wouldn't root for the Nets because that's an artificial squad. Like, you know what I mean? And like, I think you'd be aware of the type of guys that KD and Kyrie are, even if you're not a basketball fan. So I didn't think like
Or
that's
if you're not aware of it, off rip, you're going to be introduced to it very, very soon.
Yeah, and I didn't think that was the type of team you want to be rooting for if you have integrity as a sports fan overall, right? Because to be honest, if you're a kid, you might fuck around and start following the Hawks. To be honest, if we're being honest,
That's facts. But that's my point. But why though? Why?
Because Trae Young's exciting.
Because you have Trae Young.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Trae Young's went out there 30 and 10.
That's what I'm saying though.
Luka Doncic for all the white men.
But that's kind of because like I feel like again, right? I'm taking it from the stand of like you're not making a conscious decision in the sense that when you start watching it, you're looking for a team more along the lines of you're watching it and which team are you just going to fall in love with, right? I think if you're making a conscious decision, yeah, and you have integrity, you're not going to want to hop on the team that everyone's talking about and the bandwagon team. I hear that 100% still, but if I'm not looking at from a wagon, like a bandwagon standpoint, then it's probably one of those teams you guys mentioned, maybe a Phoenix, a Utah, because they're winning right now. Man, still have questions about them. I feel like it's hard for anyone outside of Utah to really be a Utah fan, though.
Facts.
But maybe a Phoenix. Philly's not bad. I think a couple years ago, I would have said Toronto. No cap, still. A couple years ago, I would have said Toronto because they had that culture established, same culture we're talking about now. But now we're shit, so yeah.
But the way I look at it is you just have to be really careful when you like the way I look at it is like, am I going to be embarrassed to throw this shirt on and go outside? Like, ain't nobody trying to buy a Hawks jersey and go on road. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but yo, 5 years ago, mans couldn't put a thing on a Philly jersey and go on road either. Still,
cap.
Nah, that's
AI jerseys on your back. This is why I talked about the cachet. AI was on your back.
But if you said you were a Philly fan, mans are laughing at you still.
It's a fact. It's a fact. I don't know. For me personally, I feel like there's a lot of ways you can look at the question. You can interpret it in like varying perspectives, but overall, I just feel like, if you're a sports fan and you have integrity, then you're gonna look and do a little bit of research to know who you're following. Like, you can't blindly follow a team. Like, you know what I mean? Like for instance, suppose someone had just like blindly followed the Golden State Warriors when Kevin Durant went there. We're gonna look at you and be like, "Yo, where's your integrity?" Like, that's the type of fan you are.
But
Like, that's not a good time.
that's how it happens, though.
Yeah,
So I'm
but
saying
that's
that's
what I'm
the
saying. I would
natural
assume
progression.
them. Yeah, but I would assume for these people that, again, adults who are fans of other sports, to migrate over to basketball, to have to do the due diligence and know that, hey, maybe this isn't the team that I should be joining right now. If you do like the Dubs for the Dubs, wait 2 years until things kind of settle down and then join the wagon. Don't join it in the hype
Nah,
when
but
Kevin
yo, at
Durant's
the
out
same
there.
time, like if you're fucking with the Dubs and 5 years later, when it's absolutely a mess and you're still fucking with them, then you're justified at that point. Because don't get it twisted, I'm a Laker fan, but Lakers were winning games when I started watching basketball. Lakers were winning championships when I started watching basketball. So by no means was I on the ground zero with the Lakers, but I've stood the test of time.
But there is
So
no
man
ground
can't
zero,
talk to me.
though.
Wait,
Like, you know what I mean?
what?
What's ground
When
zero?
we were starting
Possible
Robert
to be-
Sacre, there was no ground zero?
It can't be ground
It can't
zero.
be
but
ground
that's
zero
what
because
I'm
they already had
saying.
chips
No,
because
no,
of
no.
the
All
name.
right, okay. I'm not gonna
They
say
had
ground zero, but I'm
an
saying when the
abundance.
going got
Like,
tough.
they were the Lakers.
I'm saying when the going got tough.
In the rough time,
When we were
okay, I
starting
hear that.
Robert Sacre, when Jordan Clarkson was supposed to be the savior. Those are the times I'm talking about. I stood that test of time. So a man can't talk to me away. And at the same time, again, like mans don't fault kids for being like caught up by the
Hype.
excitement. Like that's kind of just how it goes. Yeah, like man's fuck with AI. Was he winning championships? No. What was he? It's exciting. And that's kind of what it is. I don't think man's like Embiid, Ben Simmons are pushing that needle still. So if I'm making a conscious decision, it's not even them. Like man's want to be entertained.
Would Mans be mad if someone chose the Bulls?
Nah, because they have Zach LaVine,
Oh no, I was talking about more so.
two-time slam dunk champion.
I was gonna say more so
What?
because of the like the franchise itself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably a top 4, top 5 most prestigious franchise in the NBA. Although they're shit every year.
I feel like it's not though. Still,
it has
I
to
don't
be.
feel like it is.
That logo will never change.
maybe for the lack of competition. Because like, all right, Celtics, Lakers,
Bulls.
Bulls. Still.
has to
Nah,
be
the
the
Knicks
Bulls.
is in there.
What?
No way.
Prestigious? We're
No.
talking about prestigious,
Fam.
fam. We're talking about fam. We're not talking about what do you call accomplishment. We're talking about when the league goes out there and says what are our marquee franchises in this league. You're not telling me the Knicks are not on the list. You're not telling me that.
They
From
are
from a
in that
financial
sense,
standpoint, they are, but like,
From a marquee, when they write down who are our teams, where do we get our draw? What do we lay our name on? The Knicks are on the list, fam. Has to be.
Yo, I might put the Warriors ahead of them. Still, I'll put the Warriors ahead of them. Ahead of the
Now.
Yeah, because they won in different eras. They have championships in more than one era now. So I'll put the Dubs ahead of them still.
The Knicks are definitely on the list. Every
So
year
that's
in
4.
free agency, we talk about saving the Knicks.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're top 5. You're right. Even if you put the Knicks on there, who's after that?
It's probably Bulls after that. So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
say
what I'm
Bulls or
saying.
Philly. Because Philly's also a major city, fam. You can't talk about the
Chicago's
history
the
of the league without
third biggest
It's not
city in the
Chicago.
world in the US.
That's why I said also. In terms of a major market is what I meant to say. They are also a major market. They don't have the Michael Jordan, but they
have
are
AI
still.
It's not Mike.
You know what I'm saying?
That ain't even
They are
close,
still the
though.
Philadelphia 76ers. Always repping still.
That's crazy. But I guess one more question before we wrap it up and get out of here. Chet Holmgren just committed to Gonzaga. I don't know if you guys know about the Asian man. China's top prospect just decommitted from Gonzaga to go to the G League instead. So just overall, what do you guys think about Chet Holmgren as a prospect? I know there's not too much out there, but just generally across the board, like, what do you think of him as a prospect? Because personally, I think
Bro.
he's good. I think it's gonna be hard for him to score in the NBA, though. To be honest,
Fam, you don't know.
he's not even projected number 1 in the draft class.
Yo, a couple years ago,
these players,
a couple months ago, Chris was on here talking about the Chet Holmgren draft. Man's got to get picks for the Chet Holmgren draft.
You do though.
Listen to me. That man is not saying a thing still. If it doesn't look right, don't try and convince me otherwise. The man is 7'2" and an absolute toothpick. Yeah, he can gain weight, but if he gains 20 pounds, it's still not enough. That man is a small fry, and any leaguer who is 6'6" will put that man under the rim. I don't care. And he may not even be good in college once he goes and plays mans that are 24 years old. But I'm gonna skip straight to the NBA. I'm not getting fooled still. I don't see it. He is a man that is 7'2" who is just bigger with skill than everybody else. When you get to the league and Maz can put you in the rim and get boards over you, he will average 12 and 4.
I don't know, bro, because it's not like we haven't seen mans that are like that slim.
Ooh.
Like Boucher isn't much bigger than him.
Boucher sucks.
That nigga went undrafted and he's shit.
Boucher isn't shit.
He's shit.
Boucher's averaging like 15 a game, isn't he?
He's not even a starter. Take that in. Are you taking it in? Ken Birch start?
And they refuse to start him.
They refuse to start him, but
because
he's still good. Performing, is what I'm saying.
Okay, if you're telling me that he's gonna max out at Boucher, then
I'm not saying that's his max. I'm just saying, like, in terms of body type, Boucher is just as slim, just as slender, but he survives. He plays 30 minutes a night.
Yeah, after look, it's not like it was a smooth transition, bro. That guy was fighting to keep a roster spot for years.
They're bringing in any and everyone
legend. He's a G League legend, eh? MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the G League.
Bro, I'm gonna need you to bring someone else, though. I'm gonna need you to bring someone else. To be honest with you,
the point remains that the man is out there and he's playing great minutes.
This can't be.
He's playing 24 minutes a night, by the way, not 30 still.
Fam, he's averaging 13.
Yeah, I know.
I'm 14 if you want to round
Chris,
up.
give it up, Chris. Give
7
it up,
and 2 blocks a game.
Chris,
I was correcting.
Yo, I'm not saying that Chet is going to be Porzingis, even though I think him and Porzingis, when Porzingis came in, Porzingis looked basically like that as well. I don't think Porzingis was much bigger than that.
I think Porzingis is way more athletic,
and he was even taller. He was even taller than Chet.
Nah, I think Porzingis was bigger, not much, but I think he's more athletic. Like Porzingis is ridiculously athletic for a 7-foot guy. Chet Holmgren looks like he's rim grazing every time he gets up still.
Yeah, but I don't know, bro, because Chet Holmgren, Chet can legitimately handle the ball. He can legitimately shoot the ball.
So can Bobo.
He's a great shot blocker because of that length. Yeah.
That's actually the same man?
That's the same man.
He was moshing up high school, fam.
A lie?
That's the same man still. But Bobo is what, 7'5"?
No, 7'3".
I don't know.
7'2"? 7'2".
But he could handle it and shoot it.
Is he 7'2"? I feel like he's like 7'5".
Let me Google it. Fam. I'll pull it up.
Bro, those mans get washed in the league, fam. Like, the height is cool
7'2"
up to a certain point.
7'2",
those mans get absolutely washed, bro. Like,
yeah, I don't know, the thing about Chet Holmgren, he looks good, but like I don't know how sustainable it is. Still, I don't even know if he can go out there and
when you're playing premier athletes,
to block the ball, get the rebound, go down on the other, start the break on your ones, and then hit a pull-up three.
Bowl.
But the thing, Chris, take this in. This is the reality, and I think this is what we have to start introducing to the conversation. He's not big enough to play center, right? So even if he has to play power forward, he's not big enough to play center.
Because Porzingis isn't big enough to play center. Right now,
he just doesn't have the mass. He doesn't have the mass.
No, I'm not saying that he has to like hold it down for 30 minutes at center. I'm just saying,
why are we drafting him then? Why are we drafting him? Why is he going lottery if he can't pull down 30 minutes?
Bro, here's what I'm saying to you, right? I'm not trying to cape for Chet Holmgren.
You were last week. 2 weeks ago you were.
No. What I'm saying is the skill is there. So whether or not it works out, we're gonna see. I see the skill, and I want to give it a chance to let me see it unfold. Mans are trying to write him off rip, and I'm saying he's skillful enough to allow him the chance, the opportunity to show us he can do it. That's all I'm saying.
He's gonna get the chance, but watch, man. From the day I saw that, those mans, it doesn't work still.
Bro, I'm glad he's going to Gonzaga. I'm glad he's going to Gonzaga.
That's a good spot for him to go still. Like, that's a good spot.
He can
kind of blend in there. Yeah. But like, fam, that's actually what Bol did. Like, he looks the exact same as Bol. Handle, can shoot it, block shots with the length. Those mans get put under the rim, fam. Those mans can't even stay on the court in the league. John Morant, you know what John Morant would do to a man like that?
Fly over his head.
He'll run around him, turn back, run around him again.
But Ja's a different case though, because he has that right to left crossover, and then he explodes to the rim and dunks it with his right hand.
That's not even
There's 10 other point guards.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
There's 10 other PGs.
Ja's the only one doing that.
No, I'm talking about just the quickness.
Ja's the only one doing that.
Russell
No,
Westbrook.
I'm talking about the quickness.
Nah, he wouldn't. Nah, he doesn't. Russell Westbrook, Darren Fox isn't doing that. Darren Fox is not doing that. Right to left, dunk with your left while driving to the left.
You know, Darren Fox is left-handed. You know that, right?
You thinking the wrong man right now?
I'm saying drive with your left and then dunk it across your body while you're going to the left with your right hand.
You haven't seen Darren
Fox. Must not know what I'm talking
better than John
about. I'm gonna have to send you guys a clip of what John Morant does.
Yo, I wasn't even talking about dunking the ball. I was literally just talking about running circles around the man. And Darren Fox will do that. Elfrid Payton will do that.
Every point guard in the league
will run circles around him.
Yes, because if he's not laterally quick side to side, then obviously they're doing that to any big.
Those bigs aren't playing.
There's only like a handful of bigs that's even staying with these point guards.
Yeah, and my point is, those ones are not getting drafted first overall. That's my point still. DeAndre Ayton was the last big to go high, and I promise you he'll do a lot better job on defense than a man like Chet Holmgren can never do. Because I can look at Ayton, at least the man looks like a grown man. Chet Holmgren looks like a youth. And he's a year away from the NBA right now. 1 year away from getting drafted.
Bro,
he's not putting on 50 pounds.
Who does he guard?
Unless they give him that Sixers development plan.
He can guard Giannis.
He can't guard Giannis, man. Giannis,
he can guard Giannis, fam.
He cannot guard Giannis.
He can guard Giannis, fam. He can guard Giannis.
Giannis will put a shoulder in that man, and it's a two-hand slam still.
He can guard. I feel like he can guard Giannis better than he can guard like a Giannis type, because all that length, fam. Like all you have to do is just back up and put your hands up.
But Giannis is strong. That's all. He's gonna put him up. He's going up with him.
I was watching Philly and Sixers. I was watching Philly and Sixers, and that's all Embiid was doing when he was guarding Giannis. Was just saying, "I'm gonna just put my hands up."
Fam. You can't just put him under the rim.
Yeah, but Giannis, if you guys are telling me that Giannis is gonna back him down, cool.
No, he's gonna put a shoulder into him.
But if he's just running at me, I'm just put my hands up.
And you're gonna go right in mesh.
You're going through the rim with the basketball still.
That's what I'm saying. Remove it like we don't see Giannis.
I've seen Jared Allen do it to Giannis. I've seen like other mans with length slow Giannis down.
And look how big and strong those guys are. Jared Allen's not a boy. You know?
Jared Allen isn't no fucking Hercules, fam.
But he's not Chet Holmgren either.
He's not a boy.
He's not Chet.
And can we give the man some time to grow into his man body? God.
He has 1 year.
Fam, he doesn't
Jared
have
Allen's
to be a finished product on the game.
No, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't still.
So I don't understand this whole 1 year thing. Like, he doesn't have to be a finished product. What we do know is the skill is there.
No, but Chris, here's the problem, and I'll hash it out right now. The problem is yes, he doesn't have to be a finished product, but the reality is that if he's projected to be a top 5 pick in the next year's draft, the reality is that 1 year is not going to he's not going to be able to make as much advancements in that 1 year that are going to make a difference when he comes to the court. If he puts on 15 pounds now, he's still going to get eaten up alive. And the reality is a top 5 prospect is going to be a man that a team's depending on. So imagine you draft this guy now, you're dependent on him.
It's also, if he's in a draft and the other players around him don't have the ceiling that he has, the potential ceiling that he has, then your top 5 pick is warranted.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I'm not saying that he's not warranted. I'm saying what's the reality? He can have all the potential in the world. Not everybody achieves their potential, you know.
Yes, and people that are skinny coming in don't always remain skinny going out. Same shit.
Guys that look like
how
him.
Big KP got. Pause. KP got
didn't get that
since
big.
He first came into the league. I'm not saying KP
didn't get that big.
KP.
I know he didn't get that big. He did. Kristaps Porzingis did not get that big.
I think Kristaps is pretty strong still compared to.
He is way stronger.
But the thing is, I don't think he was. I don't think KP was ever anywhere close to Chet Holmgren though. That's the only thing I'd say. I don't think they were close at any point. Like he was wiry, but he didn't look like Chet Holmgren. Literally looks like he doesn't eat, fam. Like, and again, when you're that tall, obviously it's harder for him.
KP's 240, bro. Yeah. He's 240 now. Jared Allen's 243 and 4 inches shorter. Like. I don't know if is that filling out your body?
I just, again, like I'm not trying to be harsh on the man. It's just like, I keep saying this. If it doesn't look right, I'm not gonna start believing it is, bro. Like the league is too hard, man.
Look at even guys like bro, Giannis. Giannis was MAGA when he came in.
The
Giannis is
difference
also African, fam.
Yeah, Giannis is a different. Giannis
Oh
is a
my
special
God.
case, though. Giannis is a special case. Giannis is a special
Pounding
case.
yam and a fufu.
Actually, look at Giannis when he
Mans
first
that,
came in.
mans that come in like that
Goosey?
don't end up usually looking like Giannis. Yo,
You see what Giannis look like?
but yo, Giannis is a special case because yo, mans that come into the league looking the way Giannis did and the way Chet Holmgren do, they don't turn out like Giannis. So he's a special case. We can't just look to that like that's
he can be special. Giannis can be special. I can give you that because yes, I understand that
He's from the motherland.
his genes are different. Definitely, his genes are different. But what I'm saying is that type of transformation, all Chet needs is probably 30% of that. 30%.
Nah.
He doesn't have to come out looking like a Greek god.
Yo.
Giannis has turned himself into a Greek god.
Chet Holmgren is a shooting guard still. Yo, the league is different, man. In high school, the small forwards he's going up against are rim grazing. You know what LeBron James will do to a man like that?
He's gonna have a learning curve for sure. Still,
the league is tough.
I think he's gonna have to sit. He's gonna have to sit. Probably, he won't play the first year. Second year is probably when he'll start getting his feet wet. But that's absolutely fine.
I can't.
What do you mean he won't play?
Fine.
What do you mean he won't play?
I'm saying that he's not gonna play like minutes like that. He'll probably play like a 12 minutes a night in his first year.
Can't go lottery 12? For me then, eh?
Nah, but yo, fam, that's happened before.
12?
12, yeah, around 12, 15.
Nah.
If he's gonna get bullied the entire time, yo, it's better than just redshirting him.
Obviously, but I would have said a 20 still. I'm assuming your team is shit. I assume your team is shit. You don't need to win anyways. At least give him a 20. Can't draft the perfectly healthy first round pick in the top 5 and tell me you're playing him 12 still.
How much minutes did Wiseman end up getting? Because I don't think Wiseman even got 20 minutes.
That's different. It seems good.
Mans were shouting to the heavens still. They're not using it.
Like I think Wiseman was like 18 minutes a night.
But it seems competitive.
Chet gets 15, it's the same type of shit still.
But you have to remember, Wiseman seems trying to be competitive though, right? Like they don't want to play him. A bad team that drafts Chet Holmgren will want to play him. Or should be incentivized to play him because they're not getting any better. Team. Yeah, but they're trying to be competitive.
Well, the Warriors are not a typical top 3 drafting team. Let's keep it a buck still.
Not typical, but they are bad. Bad is bad.
They're
bad is bad, but bad with
They're bad with expectations. That's the only difference.
Right, but that's okay. But that is the difference. It's not the only one. It is the difference. The top 3 team doesn't have Steph Curry. Normal circumstances. They're not expected to win. Whether or not they're bad, they have expectations. So, fam, Chet Holmgren's playing 12 minutes in his first year. He's bowl still. Man's going to have to convince me otherwise.
We'll see. He's playing at Zaga. You know, when it comes to the college scheduling system, everybody's scared to play Zaga because they're not in a Power 5 conference, and that WCC is not really saying much. So, he might not actually get to play against real competition unless they go to the tournament because just politics in the NCAA. But we'll see. He's going to go to a good team. He'll play some mid-major teams, and you'll see if he can show out. Simple as that.
That man gave Steph Curry one move, and the legend began still.
Did Drew Timmy declare for the draft yet?
Who?
Drew Timmy, the Gonzaga.
That guy's young still. I didn't know he was so young. Not like he's just not I thought he was like a senior or some shit. I think.
Did he declare?
I don't know.
Or is he going back?
JD Davidson?
Nah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Drew Timmy.
I don't know who that is still.
Gonzaga center of this past year.
Oh, that guy. No, I didn't know. I don't know who that is still. I'm not even gonna lie to you still. I wasn't watching the Zags like that.
You didn't watch the tournament. You didn't watch shit, fam.
I watched the tournament, but I'm only watching names. So I don't know who that is. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, and that was the leader of the team, fam.
We're talking about a small forward?
No.
I don't know who the center is still. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know who the center is still. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you still. I know the small forward is nasty. He declared for the draft. Center, I don't know.
Yeah, I know because he's Joe Harris still. He's gonna get drafted for sure. Still, he's a sniper.
Nobody's tuning into the Zags to watch the center, bro. Everybody's tuning in for Suggs and the small forward. Let's keep it a buck. Like, come on.
Timmy was the best player on the team.
But yo, like if you're tuning into the Zags to watch Jalen Suggs, it actually wasn't that entertaining. Still, like he was out there getting 14 a game. Like He's nice.
Yeah, but that's
don't get me
normal.
wrong, but the man was, by no means was he
He
setting the
wasn't
world on
pushing the
fire.
envelope. That's my beef with Jalen Suggs, fam. He's not pushing the envelope.
I have no beef
That-
when your team's winning still. If your team is shit and you're not pushing the envelope, I have a problem. But if you're fitting in where you can, like, you want a man, what's the goal here? To win games or what? If you get a man that's willing to do whatever to win games, I'm cool with that.
Fam, it's granted, all right, cool. But then if you're getting in the situations where it's time,
In the
like-
thing, he had 20. He had 20 in the thing.
the championship game,
Yeah, he had 20.
nah, I watched that game, fam, and he
was
probably
the
had the
only
20
man
when I
getting
turned it
bucks.
off. He probably had the 20 when I turned it off.
And
Still,
yo-
when the game was really
And
done.
when it was time to make a play, I saw it still. So
Because when I was watching that championship game, I turned that off still because I wasn't seeing nothing. Still.
It's crazy. We'll see.
That's when
I mean,
real
Zags
dogs
are going to be a
as
good team
point
again
guard,
this upcoming
that's
year.
when the real dogs stand up still.
Bro, they need to move conferences, bro. Get out of the WCC, man. They need to get out of there, bro. There's too much politics for scheduling the NCAA. And if you're in a bad conference, no team's going to want to play you. And you schedule your own home games, but no team's going to want to play you. The thing about it is nobody gains anything from beating Gonzaga, and they have everything to lose when they lose to Gonzaga. That's the problem with playing in a small conference or a mid-major. Fuck. But anyways, you guys have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
no, I'm good.
Still RPT Clark one more time. Still.
Yeah, facts.
Facts,
It's just
facts,
tragic.
facts.
One more time.
Never supposed to go that way, but that's life. Still very unfortunate. Shout out to his family. Hopefully, can get through that.
Facts. Shout out BJ Boston too. Keep your head up, bro.
His mental.
Yeah, that shit's tough, bro. Like for the rest of your life,
His mental has to be fucked, man.
the rest of your life, even like when he's in the league, like you're attached to that now. Like
I don't know if he's gonna be in the league still, but
he's definitely in the league, man. Stop the fuck.
projected second round.
Stop.
He's second round.
Second round.
He's not gonna be second round, so he's not going
second round. No, he's projected
What a
second round
difference
right
a year
now.
makes, eh? Yo, Rob, what a difference a year makes.
He's not going second round. He's actually not going second round. He's
Yo,
nice.
Fam,
Man's holla at me this year next time. Still, we'll talk about chat.
I lie.
About
We'll
chat.
see. Bookmark it. But nonetheless, it is the Hard Report, available on all streaming platforms, TikTok, YouTube. Got some things in the pipeline. Make sure you share it with everybody who's willing to listen. Never hoard a good thing. We'll come back to you guys again, same time next week, Monday, 8 a.m. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps with the engagement. It helps us spread the product. And stay tuned. We're going to be doing a giveaway shortly. So make sure you guys look out on the IG for all of that. But until next time, it's the Hard Report.